making headlines tonight. His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni is back after attending the 41st General Assembly of UNESCO at France. Cambodia Prime Minister Hun Sen and Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang agreed to boost trade between the two countries to $10 billion a year. Prime Minister Hun Sen congratulates female petanque athlete Uk Se Mom for winning gold at the World Championship. Phnom Penh Capital Administration extends the provision of booster shots. Australia wins the 2020 World Cup title with an 8-wicket victory against New Zealand. This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. My name is Paolo Bonini. His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni has been on a 5-day mission in France for UNESCO's 41st General Assembly. He was among the heads of states for more than 20 countries. The King has arrived back in Cambodia on Monday morning, bringing the results of the conference back to the kingdom. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has those details.
Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni has arrived home safely. He came back from UNESCO's General Assembly, held between the 10th and the 14th of November. The King represented Cambodia with a well-praised speech in which he thanked France and Indonesia for helping with the Paris Peace Agreement talks 30 years ago, when Cambodia has finally returned to peace after a turbulent period of civil wars. The King has also thanked UNESCO's efforts in protecting and safeguarding Cambodia's cultural heritages, and has stated it was a pleasure to be back at a UNESCO's General Assembly. King Sihamoni has participated in UNESCO's meeting in 1993 and 2003, when he was assigned to be Cambodian ambassador. On this year occasion, the Majesty has used the opportunity to request UNESCO to include 2 more Cambodian heritages as part of the list of intangible cultural heritage and the World Heritage Sites. According to Royal du Cambodge Facebook post, the King has started to prepare a request for the inclusion of Khmer traditional martial art Bokator as an intangible cultural heritage. Bokator has the chance to be the 6th Cambodian intangible cultural heritage on a list that includes the Royal Ballet of Cambodia and the Shadow Theatre. He has also requested to include Cambodia's khmer archaeological temple in the World Heritage Sites category. As for the moment, Cambodia's most famous temple Angkor, as well as Preah Vihear Temple and Samboa Pre Cook archaeological sites are part of the World Heritage Sites. The Majesty has also set a call with Director General of UNESCO's Audrey Azoulay on Saturday to discuss the inclusion of both proposals. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has virtually met with the Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang on Monday afternoon. The two prime ministers have agreed to boost trade between the two countries, up to $10 billion per year. They also agreed to enter into a free trade agreement by January of next year. EAC News reporter Ria Soko has the story.
Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang has vowed to Prime Minister Hun Sen on Monday that the People's Republic of China will continue to support the royal government of Cambodia in boosting trade as well as its fight against COVID-19. Prime Minister Hun Sen has expressed gratitude to his Chinese counterpart for not leaving Cambodia's side. They discussed boosting bilateral cooperation relations between the two countries as well as regional and international cooperations. In the bilateral framework, they discussed economic and trade issues, agricultural issues, and people-to-people relations. They agreed to boost trade between the two countries to $10 billion per year and also agreed to enter into force a free trade agreement between Cambodia and China by January. In the field of agriculture, the Chinese Prime Minister agreed to push for joint work between the two sides to negotiate a quota on rice imports to China and Cambodian agricultural products directly to China through the establishment of a joint mechanism. Within the framework of regional international cooperations, Prime Minister Li Keqiang informed Prime Minister Hun Sen that the Chinese side will attend the upcoming Asia-Europe meeting and provide support to Cambodia on the occasion of Cambodia's chairmanship of ASEAN next year. In addition, The Chinese side will provide 550 scholarships to Cambodia for 2022 to 2023 for 5 years and is also considering to allow Cambodian students to return to study in China soon. Prime Minister's assistant Ieng Supalit has conveyed how grateful the Cambodian Prime Minister to converse with Chinese Prime Minister Lee Keqiang. Supalit says that Prime Minister Hun Sen is very thankful to the Chinese government for its never-ending support and for always providing a warm welcome to His Majesty King and Queen during their royal visit to China. Reyes Soko, EAC News.
Cambodian's female athlete Uksre Mum has secured Cambodia a gold medal, which not only brought pride to the kingdom, but also praise, especially from Prime Minister Hun Sen. The World Petang Championship is ongoing in Spain, with the Women's Championship opening the games. 4 Khmer athletes were sent to the Women's Petang Championships, which was held between the 12th and the 14th of November in Santa Susana, Spain. But it was Uksre Mum who stepped up to the centre of the podium, defeating Thailand 39-27 in the final round. She has beaten her Canadian counterpart 29-2 in the first quarter and the Norwegian player 25-18 in the semi-finals. Uksre Mum was a champion in 2017, winning 2 of the 5 medals Cambodia has achieved in the World Petang Championship. The number of victories has only been achieved by Cambodia. The win caught the attention of Prime Minister Hun Sen, who posted on his Facebook page congratulations to the athlete, stating the whole kingdom is proud of her achievements in the championship. The World Petang Championship held the junior categories at the same time as the women's game. The best Cambodian players will play the male champions between Friday and Sunday this week. Prime Minister Hun Sen and his wife Bunrani Hun Sen have provided winter coats to standing forces in Preah Vihear province. The initiative was to prepare the troops for the upcoming cold season. Deputy Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Srey Duh, has led the distribution of the items to the personnel at the Preah Vihear temple.
The headquarters of the 3rd Intervention Division was chosen by Prime Minister Hun Sen and his wife for the distribution of winter coats. The coats were given to a total of 25 units, including armed forces and authorities at the temple of Preah Vihear. It was led by the Deputy Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Srey Duh. The armed forces have expressed its gratitude to Prime Minister Hun Sen and his wife, Bunrani Hun Sen, whose generous gift was gratefully received. The Prime Minister has also donated 3,000 reals each person per day to assist them in their daily needs and help improve the daily life of the armed forces by increasing their standard of living. The Army has committed to serve and protect the Prime Minister and his family in all situations, especially to protect the nation, the King, and the Constitution. Reyes Soko, EAC News.
No more quarantine for vaccinated international travellers. It was announced by Prime Minister Hun Sen on Sunday, which was most welcomed not only by the residents of the kingdom, but also by other countries, especially from the ASEAN group. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the story.
Cambodian has made headlines in different parts of the world, especially in the ASEAN member countries. Starting on Monday, the kingdom will no longer impose quarantine for travelers arriving in the country, that if they are fully vaccinated. This was after Prime Minister Hun Sen's announcement on Sunday. As long as their rapid test shows negative, they can go ahead to their final destination.
I know that some of our people want to go abroad but are worried about returning to our country because of the need of quarantine. Our brothers and sisters abroad also want to come back to visit in the country, but they are worried about doing quarantine too. Now, all of you are no longer necessary and anxious. Before leaving the country, you should have a COVID-19 test certificate within 72 hours before arriving in the Kingdom of Cambodia. After arriving, you should take a rapid test which takes only 15 to 20 minutes. After checking that there is no positive, you will be able to travel in any of the framework of the whole country without any obstructions.
The Prime Minister has clarified that this also applies to travelers who are currently under quarantine across the country. As long as their COVID-19 tests are negative, they are free to travel around the country. Prime Minister Hun Sen says this is to accelerate the reopening of the country and facilitate the return of Cambodians from abroad. The PM did specify that a COVID test certificate within 72 hours before arriving in the kingdom is needed. Then a COVID-19 rapid test upon arrival, which takes around 15 to 20 minutes. But for unvaccinated travelers, they have to undergo the mandatory 14 days quarantine. This news is gratefully received especially by the tourist industry, which has been standing by to welcome back much-needed tourist revenue. Cambodia is the first country in the Asian region that has announced quarantine-free for vaccinated travelers. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
As the kingdom is ready to receive fully vaccinated tourists who no longer need to be quarantined, Cambodia's daily COVID-19 numbers maintain their remarkable downward trend. Daily cases remain below 100 for 46 days in a row. As of today, only 52 new cases were recorded. That includes 4 imported cases. Cambodia has a total of 119,588. Once again, recoveries outpace the number of new cases. 55 patients were cured overnight. That makes the total recovery 115,979. However, deaths are still being recorded. 5 people lost their lives yesterday. Cambodia's deaths during the pandemics now stand at 2,872. The kingdom has just 730 active cases. The Royal Government of Cambodia, together with the Ministry of Health, has launched a new strategy for the new normal to assist in daily living with COVID-19 in the kingdom. It has set out 4 strategic frameworks that will promote safety and strengthen the health system during the pandemic. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has that story.
Cambodian has set 4 strategic frameworks to protect Cambodia's socio-economic resilience during the reopening of the country. The frameworks include promoting the responsibility of every individual to live and to participate in socio-economic activities and strengthening the health system, focusing primarily on the capacity for effective preparedness and timely response. It also features the safe relaunching and sustainable socio-economic activities in conjunction with safety measures, health measures and appropriate administrative measures, as well as regular monitoring and evaluation of the situation of the epidemic. The royal government says that his strategy will pave the way for learning to live in a new normal path in the context of COVID-19, which may provide opportunities for Cambodia. He has added that it is a great method to turn crisis into an opportunity. As the saying goes, every crisis embodies a golden opportunity that we should not overlook. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Phnom Penh administration has issued assurances that the booster doses will be available in the capital until further notice. The capital has issued a directive last Friday announcing the extension, ensuring the majority of the population will complete all 3 doses. The booster shots are being administered in Phnom Penh's 14 districts. EAC News reporter Ria Soko has the details.
The capital's booster vaccination is being spread in 15 locations. The administration has decided to extend the 3rd dose inoculation until further notice. It says that some are having health issues, undergoing quarantine, or have personal businesses that impeded them to get their booster shots. For this reason, Phnom Penh Capital Administration, on behalf of the Subcommittee on COVID-19 Vaccination, has released a directive for the extension. It says that it will continue in the capital until further notice. The administration has reminded people to continue adhering to the 3 do's and 3 don'ts when getting their booster dose, while making sure that they get it as soon as possible. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
Personal advisor to the Prime Minister and Secretary of State of the Ministry of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation, Mut Kyo, has called the members of the Elite Protection Force to join in maintaining peace across the country. He expressed his message during the opening ceremony of a bodyguard command garage last Friday. EAC News reporter Yuri Matusko has that story.
Commander of the Bodyguard Command, General Hing Boon-hyun, has stated that to be a bodyguard, one must be loyal to the leadership by obeying the 3 approaches of the Bodyguard Command: faithful, defend, serve. And dare to sacrifice everything for the nation, religion, the king, and commitment to protect and ensure security for Prime Minister Hun Sen and his family. The Bodyguard Command was established in 2009 and is located in Tuong Krusang, Takmal City, Kendal Province. This command used to be the 246th Battalion, a brigade established by Prime Minister Hun Sen during the Cambodian state in 1990. Personal advisor to the Prime Minister Mut Kiev calls on elite protection forces to join in maintaining peace so that Cambodia can continue to develop in all areas. Kiev is also the Secretary of State of the Ministry of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth. He says Prime Minister Hun Sen has sacrificed his life at least 4 times for the peace in the kingdom. This is one of the reasons why he's urging the protection forces to continue protecting the peace that the PM tries so hard to achieve. He was speaking at official opening of a bodyguard command garage worth nearly $1 million last Friday. He has stressed that it is the peace that makes Cambodia developed in all areas, improving the lives of families and people across the country. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
The Ministry of Defense announced in a statement on Saturday that the government of Cambodia condemns the United States' recent decision, placing sanctions on the country. The US also blacklisted 2 senior Cambodian military officials. The ministry calls the incident a case of a Western superpower taking advantage of Cambodia for politically motivated reasons. EAC News reporter Dashani Gochan has the story.
The United States' decision to impose sanctions and blacklist the 2 Cambodian generals comes after the destruction of its aid building at the Ream Naval Base in Sihanoukville. Under these sanctions, the Cambodian generals, as well as their families and relatives, will be blacklisted from entering the United States, and all existing assets held by them within the country will be frozen. In addition, 50% or more of any businesses the 2 generals directly or indirectly own in the United States will be frozen. On Friday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has denied all allegations made by the U.S., saying they were baseless, and called the sanctions a violation of international law and international relations, as well as a serious interference in the internal affairs of the country. The Foreign Ministry considers the current sanctions a subversion of previous cooperative efforts being made between Cambodia and the United States on matters related to trade and investment, counterterrorism, peacekeeping, and exploration. The Ministry of Defense further dismissed these sanctions, calling them a method of subjugation and a way for the United States to further its own interests and competitive geopolitical advantage, despite Cambodia showing its willingness to respect the sovereignty of other countries and be sincere in the spirit of maintaining friendship with the United States. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
China has opposed the sanctions imposed by the United States on 2 senior Cambodian military officials. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has released a statement saying that they oppose the US interference in the internal affairs of Cambodia and other countries. EAC News reporter Rhea Soka has the details.
Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin has stated that China has always opposed U.S. unilateral sanctions and U.S. intrusion into the internal affairs of all countries. Wang Wenbin has emphasized that China, as a traditional friendly neighbor to Cambodia, has always actively cooperated with a Southeast Asian nation in all fields. He says both countries adhere to the concept of environmental cleanliness in the joint effort to build high-quality infrastructure as a part of the Belt and Road Initiative, which will benefit people's lives and contribute to peace and stability in the region. Wang Wenbin has added that the equal and mutually beneficial cooperation between China and Cambodia does not allow interference from outside forces. Last week, the United States imposed sanctions on senior officials Chao Piron, the Technical Director General of the Ministry of Defense, and the Commander of the Cambodian Navy, Thi Vinh, over accusations of corruption in relation to the development of the Ream Naval Base in Sihanoukville. Under these sanctions, the two Cambodian generals, as well as their relatives, will no longer be allowed to obtain visas to enter the United States, and any assets owned or held by the officials within the United States will also be frozen. Reyes Soko, EAC News.
Bantay Minche's Department of Health has discovered that it was high levels of methanol that killed 7 migrant workers under quarantine in Kobe Tom Center, Poi Phet City, last Thursday. 25 of the workers from Thailand were drinking inside the quarantine center. 7 of them died. Initial information from the provincial administration said that they were drinking sanitizing alcohol mixed with soda and tea. But the alcohol sample examination shows a dangerous level of methanol in the drink. EAC News reporter Dashani Gokhan has the story.
18 migrant workers out of 25 survived from the alcohol poisoning last week. 7 of them died after consuming drinks mixed with tainted alcohol. Bantay Minche's Department of Health Deputy Director Ruin Soti has told EAC News that they collected an alcohol sample to confirm the cause of death of the workers. At first, they believed that it was the sanitizing alcohol available in the quarantine center that killed them, mixed with tea and soda. But a day after the incident, the health department team have seized 186 bottles of counterfeit alcohol, amounting to 123 liters of methanol at Kon Damre village in Nimit commune of Poi Phet City. Authorities confirmed that the workers sourced their drinks from the village. The results show a very high level of methanol from the drink. This concluded the investigation on what caused the deaths of the 7 workers in the quarantine center. Bringing alcoholic beverages inside the quarantine center is strictly prohibited. Bantay Minche's provincial officials have continuously warned people under quarantine, especially those migrant workers coming from Thailand, to adhere to the royal government policy to avoid similar incidents. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Now for a look at the news making international headlines this Monday, 15th of November.
Ecuador's President Guillermo Lasso has called a crisis cabinet after another outbreak of brutal prison violence. At least 68 people died and more than 24 injured on Saturday at Litoral Penitentiary. It is one of Ecuador's largest prisons in the coastal city of Guayaquil. The same penitentiary is the same prison where 119 inmates were killed in late September in the country's worst ever incident of prison violence. The government has blamed disputes between drug trafficking gangs for control of prisons for the violence. So far, 34 bodies have been identified since the Saturday bloodshed. The Human Rights Secretariat will deliver the coffins to the families while criminology continues to work on the identification of the other deceased. The government is also offering psychological assistance for the victims' families. Ecuador's prison system has come under harsh spotlight in recent years for overcrowding, poor sanitary conditions, and organized crimes. Lasso in September declared a 60-day state of emergency in the prison system.
Thousands of Thai protesters demonstrated out onto the streets of Thailand's capital Bangkok on Sunday. They demand changes, including the repeal of a draconian law that criminalizes any criticism of the king. Youth-led protests that began last year by calling for the removal of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, a former coup leader. With thousands in attendance, Sunday's rally was one of the biggest protests in recent months, despite being temporarily disrupted by rain. Protesters held placards reading, "No absolute monarchy," and "Reform is not abolition," as they marched through Bangkok. While it was once taboo to call for reforms to the monarchy, young protesters are becoming increasingly bold in their demands. A 20-year-old protester says she can't see their future if they stay under the regime of dictatorship and monarchy. They want to have a voice. They want their government to work for them, not the king. They want humans to be equal. Riot police were seen standing on the streets and in front of the German embassy. Since the protests began last year, at least 157 people have been charged under the law, according to records compiled by the Thai Lawyers for Human Rights group. Sunday's protest came in response to the Constitutional Court's ruling last week that a call for reforms to the monarchy by 3 protest leaders in August last year was unconstitutional and designed to topple the institution. 3 protesters were wounded on Sunday.
Schools in New Delhi will be closed for a week and construction sites for 4 days. This was announced by the India's capital chief minister has announced on Saturday as the city tries to protect people in the worsening air pollution crisis. Chief Minister of the National Capital Territory of Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal, says that the New Delhi, often ranked as one of the world's most polluted capital, will be physically closed for a week from Monday as severe air pollution blankets in the city. He has confirmed that talks on a potential complete lockdown in the capital were also underway, but any decision would only be taken after consultation with the central government. A thick haze of toxic smog hung over the Indian capital, intensified by a spike in the burning of crop waste in surrounding farmlands. Farmers of India's breadbasket states of Punjab have said that they were compelled to burn the stalks as no proper solution or alternative was being provided to them by the government. Stubbles or stalks burning in Punjab and Haryana states, part of the farm belt that borders the capital, New Delhi, accounts to 30 to 40% of air pollution in October and November, according to air quality monitor agency SAFAR. Air quality in Delhi, often ranked the world's most populated capital, has declined due to crop stalks burning, emission from transport, coal-fired plants outside the city, and other industry, as well as open garbage, burning, and dust.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we've brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the Daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Phnom Penh Crown had a difficult match against Visaka last Saturday at the Prince Stadium, in what was being called the most emotional game of the season. The final result stood at 1-1, and that left the title open, although Phnom Penh Crown has a slight advantage over second-place Visaka. EAC News reporter Yuri Matusko has the latest.
It was a thrilling match at the Prince Stadium last Saturday, with the players of Visaka and Phnom Penh Crown giving all they could at the pitch, even under a heavy rain and on top of a muddy field. Right after the referee whistled the match at the minute 5, Visaka's Korean player Lee Jung-gun has sent the ball into the Phnom Penh's Crown goal. The Phnom Penh Crown team fought for a change to score a goal, with Brazilian midfielder Matheus Souza attempting an electrifying pass near Visaka's net, but the ball ended up hitting the crossbar. At minute 24, Colombian midfielder Andreas Nieto scored a goal for Phnom Penh's Crown at a penalty, which led both teams with a draw until the end of the match. Both teams fought for a change in the score and get one extra goal for their teams, with Visaka's team in need for points more than its adversary, that still keeps its top position at the MCL, 2 points ahead of second-place Visaka. The hard game stopped when Visaka's player Rang Bunhen broke his leg. The ambulance was called to take the player for treatment, and 10 minutes were given as an extension. Phnom Penh Crown number 33, Matheus Souza, attempted once again a fast ball into Visaka's goal after break time, but the ball lost its potency due to the muddy ground. He spoke with EAC News saying it was a classic game, but the heavy rain made the field worn out, turning the game even harder than expected.
We tried to get an opportunity for another goal, but unfortunately we didn't get it. In a way, the draw is a good result for us. It gives us the opportunity to play in our house with our fans. I believe in our team, in our potential, and I think we can get the victory in our house with the people cheering for us, who is always cheering for us independently of the result of the match. I believe we will be champions of the MCL.
Phnom Penh's Crown head coach Oleg Starinsky says the tension made the game violent and challenging.
It was a tough game. So unfortunately, combination football finish after the rain, and was difficult already to combine due to the pitch condition. It was become very physical and consist only of the challenges. We are not happy with the end result, but we're not frustrated. We're waiting for the next match where we confirm our victory. So we will put the maximum efforts to get the 3 points on a Friday game.
Phnom Penh Crown will have the oldest classic match against Bunket Football Club in the RSN Stadium on Friday 19 at 3:30 p.m. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Fans filed out of Dubai International Stadium after Australia clinched their maiden 2020 World Cup title on Sunday, with an 8-wicket victory over New Zealand. Having restricted New Zealand to 172 for 4, Australia reached their target with 7 balls to spare after a brilliant batting display. Opening batter David Warner scored 53 off 38 balls, while Mitchell Marsh remained unbeaten on 77 from 50 deliveries, to see Australia through and spark wild celebration amongst his teammates. New Zealand captain Kane Williamson earlier led by example with a whirlwind 85 off 48 balls to power his team to 172 for 4 at the Dubai International Stadium. Put into bat, New Zealand struggled to get going and were 57-1 at the halfway stage of their innings before Williamson accelerated the scoring.
Yeah, it's awesome. We just won the World Cup, the T20, first time ever. It's an amazing achievement, and who better to win against than our neighbours? So.
It was a good game. We put on a pretty good score, but we needed 180, 190. So what do? Australia batted very, very well. So they won it. Congratulations, Australia.
The right-hander dropped on 21 near the boundary by Josh Hazlewood. Hit 3 sixes and 10 fours in his knock. Fast bowler Hazlewood was the most successful with the ball for Australia and picked up 3 for 16 in his 4 overs. Olympic champion Alexander Zverev was awarded a win in his opening match of the ATP Finals. This was after Italian Matteo Berrettini pulled out injured early in the second set, with the German leading 7-6, 1-0.
World number 3 Alexander Zverev was made to work very hard against Berrettini for more than an hour before the Italian pulled out injured. Berrettini had struggled to hold serve, having to save 2 break points on his very first service game alone, but his forehand repeatedly got him out of trouble. Another 2 dazzling forehand cross-court winners earned him his first 2 break and set points at 6-5, but he could not convert either. Zverev also squandered 2 set points before clinching the tie-break on his third chance after an hour and 19 minutes. But after a game into the second set, Berrettini needed a medical break for on-court treatment to his abdominal muscles and lasted only 1 more point before pulling out in tears.
Now let's have a look at the weather and see what you can expect over the next few days. And finally, hammerhead sharks, great barracudas and puffins are only some of the animals on view at the National Aquarium in Abu Dhabi. The attraction is the first to open in Al Qanah, a new waterfront destination in the capital.
It is home to 46,000 creatures and 300 species, spanning more than 9,000 square meters. The largest aquarium in the Middle East, and it just opens its doors to visitors on Friday.
So this particular exhibit is called Butina. Now Butina is a real location here in Abu Dhabi. It was voted for Natural Wonder of the World, and we've tried to recreate that environment in this exhibit. No one's allowed out there because it's a heavily protected area. So the only place where you can get some idea of what Butina might look like is here. We've created the seagrass beds, we have the hammerhead sharks, and an array of different types of fish that you would see in that location. I'm extremely proud of this exhibit. The Butina exhibit is the key exhibit or the hero exhibit of the National Aquarium in Abu Dhabi.
He says this is the largest challenge for them on this project is the COVID-19. Mirroring various marine habitats across the globe, the aquarium features 10 different zones, including a rehabilitation center for sea turtles. Each zone is specifically themed. The 10 zones in total are UAE's Natural Treasures, Red Sea Wreck, Atlantic Cave, The Sop, Ring of Fire, Ocean Magic, Frozen Ocean, Flooded Forest, Butina Island, and Back of House, and set up to tell a narrative. A highlight is UAE Natural Treasures, which pays homage to the country's rich pearl diving history through animated paintings with video mapping technology. Another popular zone will likely be Flooded Forest, where visitors will find a super snake, a female reticulated python, aged 14, that weighs 115 kilograms. The area also has more than 8,000 rainforest creatures, including free-roaming birds that fly around and yet don't go near guests. It isn't only about animals behind the glass or birds flying around. The aquarium offers a number of interactive experiences, including scuba diving, animal feedings, and glass-bottom boat tours that also go on to explain more about the animals and their natural habitats. Education, rescue, and rehabilitation are guiding priorities for the National Aquarium. The entire facility has been designed to provide both children and adults with world-class interactive learning opportunities to spotlight the vital role our marine environment plays in the well-being of all.
Thanks for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, check our website at eacnews.asia. You can also search for EAC News on Telegram or your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow at 8. I will see you then.